Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to day number 3 of our Eñye Dream Accelerator table making series. Yes, I'm broadcasting from my kitchen. Yes, this is a COVID world, and this is what happens when one kid is in school and one kid is at home, okay? So I'm just doing the best I can, and I hope that you are too. So I could not be more excited to have our guest today. Norma Fabian is on with us. Before we get a chance to get to know her and her, I call it a blow your hair back idea. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what in the world we're doing here and why is this called Table Makers? What in the heck is this? So the idea came to me actually last week. And when I was trying to figure out how to clearly communicate what we do in the Eñye Dream Accelerator and kind of what's behind it. And what's behind it is like starving for representation, like a hunger to see other Latino people, Latinx people out there doing their thing, creating their lives, and creating spaces where we can occupy, creating tables that we are invited to. Because a lot of times, especially with my film and the projects that we work on, it feels often like there isn't room for us. It feels like there is no space for us. And I know there's systemic things, institutional things, and then there's the things that we can do. And that's what EDA is for. It's for, okay, so there's that, and then there's what we can do about it. And let's see if could we make our own tables. And certainly that's what we've done with Project Eñye. And then I started meeting all of these other amazing bad ASS women that also wanted to make their own tables. And Norma is such a woman. And so that's why we call it Table Makers. And Norma, I'm going to give you a minute to tell people exactly the origins of your idea. But before I do, I want to just introduce you by saying that Norma Fabian, I always pronounce it correctly, Newton, is the founder of Fabian Flores independent publishing house that centers around Latinx narratives in order to empower and inspire readers. Now, the daughter that was just walking in the background is I think we counted how many books she's read in the last few years. It's over 100. She's obsessed with reading. She is a total self-proclaimed nerd, Harry Potter obsessed child, and literally picks out books for all her gifts. And I love it. So I am all about supporting you, Norma, creating a place where authors can go and tell our stories. So I have books to recommend to my own kids and books to give away to my nieces, to my nephews, and the kids in my life that I love. So please tell us a little bit about you and what gave you this amazing idea.
Thanks so much, Denise, for the introduction and for the love, for the support. So I'll start by saying that my name is Norma Fabian Newton. I am she, her, Eñye. I live on Tongva territory, otherwise known as Los Angeles, California. And the idea behind Fabian Flores really, if I were to take a step back and say, okay, where does this really come from? It's rooted in a childhood of not being seen, of feeling like an outsider, feeling like, so I grew up in a very tumultuous household. First gen, had lots of, first gen family struggled a lot, right? And so I found deep comfort in reading. And I was a very sort of quiet kid in many ways, and books were my lifeline. And I remember devouring books and also having some sort of awareness that none of the stories that I read really reflected my story or my community story, or even a sliver of that. So fast forward years later, I went to law school, decided that it just wasn't my jam. And then I started having children, and I realized, wow, as I started buying books for them and read to them, I realized not much has changed. And there was a deep desire for me to create something, to create a different reality, not just for myself, but for my children and for my children's children. And so that sort of led me onto this more creative path. And I ended up exploring writing, really. And that was sort of the gateway to where I am now. So I started writing, and I ended up having a piece published in the New York Times, a very personal, thank you, a very personal essay about motherhood and colorism and love and acceptance. And I realized once that piece, I mean, it did really, really well. And the feedback I got was incredible. And I realized that, you know, it's not just me who really wants to see more of our narratives out in the world. Our community as a whole, and not just our community, our friends, our neighbors are also interested in the stories that we have to tell. And so from there, I really just started thinking about, okay, what is it? How can I best support change on a larger level? It's not just about my writing, it's about other narratives. It's about narratives, it's about our community's narratives, and really creating a platform where we can just center those narratives and help catapult the writers and really begin to shift culture, right? Mm-hmm. Really allow our nuanced, most dynamic selves to be broadcast and to be seen. So that's the genesis of the project.
Okay, so I can hardly deal with myself listening to this, because a lot of times, first of all, I'm just so honored that you are in the group. And you know, I shared how I feel about you in an introduction I made recently. I just adore you. And you know, projects like yours, businesses like yours, it's so much bigger than us. It's so much bigger, right? It's the impact, the ripple effect is honestly something that we'll never know. And we can safely say that tens of thousands and hopefully millions of people will benefit from your single idea, right? The single idea that was born from a little girl who didn't feel seen, who had a trajectory, ended up, you know, with all of the experiences you had, including the New York Times piece, and then this idea sparks, and then this beautiful vision happens. But tell me, what was the barrier? Because you've already gotten started. I know you're in a Dream Accelerator to really amplify, to really get this thing going in 21, but you've already started and you've already had a single book published already. Is that right?
That's right. So I joined EDA in, I want to say late May. And I joined because I've been following what you've been working on for several years now. And there were some, I love what you're doing.
It's just crazy, like how much I just adore you. And I'm like, I can't believe she was following, and I was following you. It's like, you just never know, like, gosh, you know, could have picked up the phone, you know, and enjoyed such a friendship beforehand. But anyway, I'm just so happy that it happened now. Okay, keep going.
So I'm following you, and I somehow I get onto one of your stories, and then I read one of your posts, and I'm just like, damn, this woman is still creating, and what she is creating feels so relevant to what I'm doing. It really speaks to me. One of the things that I really admire about what you've done and who you are is that you have managed to create your own table, and you didn't have a whole lot of resources. I think that is why I was so attracted to this program, because I said, here's a woman who is entering uncharted creative territory and has excelled, and she's Latina. How can I learn from that? Because I think it's really, really difficult to try new things without support. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes the support that is available doesn't mirror our realities. And so here I saw this woman who was Latina, who had stayed at home, who didn't have experience in what she was creating, and yet had the hunger, had the ethic, like the work ethic and the drive to make it happen. And I said, oh, I need to know more. Wow, come on, enséñame.
Well, thank you. And honestly, like, it's such a, you know, looking back, it's like, wow, yeah, that's me. She's talking about me. And like, you know, sometimes I feel like those Spartan races, you know, like when you're going under the barbed wire, a face in the mud, and some of it gets in your mouth, like, it's tough. And I am lucky that I had some amazing, I call them my fairy godmothers, like my madre, like, is it madrina? Like you know, women that just decided to just say, I'm going to help you. And, you know, and EDA was really created so that I could be that for other people. And because we deserve that, especially Latinas. I mean, it really is, I'm going to say it, more challenging for us. And because not only do we have the everyday garden variety challenges that most entrepreneurs have, but we also have that layer of cultural challenge that is, it's something that is, you just can't even, it's like jello through your fingers. It's so hard to describe, so hard to put into words, but when it's not acknowledged, it really can add to someone just deciding to give up or not even get started. And that's why I think it's important to have that cultural lens layered over everything so people know that this space is for them. So tell me, so you've published your first book. You have, like, your vision just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And honestly, I just keep getting more and more excited because I'm just like, you know, not only do I get to be like right there front row eating popcorn, but then I feel like I'm kind of on the fields with you at the very least as a cheerleader, and just as a recorder of your success and a rememberer of what it was like in the beginning. And so tell me, what would you say was your biggest, like, challenge, the hump of, okay, I'm going to do this. I really want to do this. I'm going to start EDA. I'm really going to do this, to actually doing it?
Okay, so I want to backtrack for a second because I realized I didn't answer your previous question. So I joined in May, and I told you why I joined, right? I joined because of you, because you were an inspiration, and I felt like you were providing this great model for me to step into and to support, right? For you, I was stepping into a model that you had created and that you were there to support. So I came in with an idea, one book. And you challenged me and you said, one book by the end of the year, and my head exploded. And I was just like, you're ridiculous, lady. Who you think I am? I'm a total outsider. I don't have experience. I don't have this. I don't have that. And 4.5 months later, I collaborate. And the company published an art catalog for an amazing Chicana LA-based artist with an amazing Latinx-owned gallery, Bermudez Projects here in Los Angeles. And that would have never happened if you hadn't said, yeah, you know what? One book by the end of the year. You got this. I mean, and once you said that, it's sort of like the world magically shifted. And every step I took, there was the path appeared every time I took a step. And so I just wanted to share that, a little bit of context about sort of the first book that came out. And I love the fact that it was a collaboration with, a dear friend, and that it's done, like it's in the world. What? And that's mind blowing to me. And you're right. The vision gets larger, right? Because we went from one book to a publishing house to the world. We're taking the world. Changing the way the publishing industry functions, and to really say, you know what, we are here. Our narratives, our stories, our creativity matters. And let's change the way things have been done. It's high time for us to be front and center, for our work to come forward, for us to be seen in a nuanced and rich way, because that's the way we live our lives, because that is who we are. So I would say, now fast forward to the question of what was the biggest barrier, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think a lot of it is mindset. And I think that your foundational courses were pivotal in shifting, because I don't think I realized how much I was holding myself back. And I don't think I realized how much on a daily basis I was ignoring my intuition and ignoring my calling, really.
It's funny how that works, right? We just get so used to putting this stuff aside, and it seems like we're separate from it. But then, and it really isn't that big of a jump. Like it's literally just a shift in focus and a commitment to seeing things differently. And we call that the pink shirt in EDA. It's just like, hey, be open to putting on a pink shirt or a pink sweater in my case today. And, you know, see how it looks. And if you don't like it, toss it. But maybe it fits and maybe it could help. And in this case, I mean, I remember your transformation seemed very, very fast. And I also know that your willingness to share that with all of us, it just, you know, moved people so fast. And I don't think that we give ourselves enough credit when we go through a transformation. It affects the body. And I remember reading, like, I don't know, I can't remember what the book was, but it was some book about family psychology or something like that. And I remember the intro talked about a family or a unit when one is very much like one of those mobiles that are over the cribs of babies, right? Mm-hmm. With all the little things dangling down. And when one person changes or transforms or sees something they hadn't seen before, like in your case, it's like pulling a one piece down, and then everybody moves and changes. And here's the thing, in EDA, you shook things up. And you took it to another level of realness and authenticity. And I think that one call where you just shared so authentically, it took all of us, including me, into this conversation about visibility that still is living. Like literally for months, we've been talking about visibility because of your share. And it really cracked something open in me as well. So, when you play full out, because there are people in EDA that are still kind of hanging back, and that's okay. Sometimes you need to watch a little bit and see, well, is Norma going to be okay? Norma's taking a lot of risks. Is she going to be okay? And then a few months later, they're just like, well, hello, here I am. Because, I started, you're going to start hearing this. I started when Norma started, and Norma had 5 books published, and I haven't been doing anything. And like, that's what's going to happen because it happened before. And so it's all okay. And like when you're willing to really lean into the fear, it really, like, it not only helps you, it helps everybody. And that's like the one piece. And that's what this series is about. It's like, we have these ideas. And if we're courageous enough, we put ourselves in a situation to box ourselves in, to make those things happen. Mm-hmm. And what we need to understand, in my opinion, is that those big ideas, when they're brought and made manifest and created, and something like yours, which is just this huge container for so many people to be a part of, I mean, endless amounts of people, to be a part of, either being published by you or reading the books. I mean, I just want to, like, make sure people know there's great responsibility in that, right? And it's our power. Like, when we feel powerless against all these darn statistics, like, this is what we can do. And it's like, honor your heart. I mean, what better idea is that than, devote your life to that which brings you the most joy and fascination. It'll help everybody. That's a pretty revolutionary idea, right? I mean, like, why is that revolutionary? It is. And I kind of feel like my job is to, when we talk about marketing EDA, is just keep saying that, because I mean, it's great. The water's great, everybody. We're having a great time. So tell me about your plans for 2021, because I know that you've got a huge kind of Kickstarter idea going on, and like, you have a big vision. Tell us what we need to know.
So 2021, well, if 2021 is anything like 2020, I am buckling and ready for the ride. But my hope is that in 2021 Q1 we'll be officially launching. The end of 2020 has really been more about creating community, creating awareness, beginning to collaborate with friends and allies, and really about having lots of discussion, really going back to this point of visibility and being seen and sharing the idea. So Q1, we hope to have a big Kickstarter campaign to launch the catalog. We are doing things differently. And I think that that's the beauty of being an outsider. We're here to say, okay, this needs to be done differently. How can we do this differently? How can we reach our readers? How can we reach our people in a way that hasn't been done before? That's what we're here to do. We're here to innovate. We're here to inspire. We're here to create. We're not here to just do the same old, same old. So, you know, my hope is that we'll be trying lots of different strategies to try and really amplify various Latino, Latinx narratives, and that we will find many, many readers. So that's what we have in store for 2021. And I'm excited and I'm terrified sometimes. What's happening?
You know, I for many years, it's like before I had my kids, I was like one of those people that if I went to like Universal or Disney or whatever, I'm like, let's go on the roller coaster. And I would get right in the front. And I'm like, so not like that now. Like, I don't like to be terrified now in that way. But for years I was like, ah! And I just loved it. Right. And like, I kind of feel like that's what we do, is we just strap ourselves in, but everybody in the car is your sister. Everybody in the whole thing is like screaming with you. And we're all celebrating and drinking margaritas together afterwards. Like, it's something that we do in community. And so, yeah, I think like, here's what I know for sure is the being on the road part of my story, which obviously didn't include this year, but did include the 3 years prior pretty intensely, with over 100 dates. There's a few kind of businesses and industries and things and themes that I honestly would just be like not very smart if I didn't pick up on them, you know. And one of them is how many women have like memoirs specifically, that they want to write. And so many women. And there's a handful of them in EDA writing their stories now. And incidentally, none of them are memoirs, which is interesting. But because we've got 3 authors in EDA, and none of them are, you know, writing memoirs. But in any case, well, I guess Gina's sort of writing that, but not really. But anyway, my point is this: the market is ginormous, and it is time to do something different. It's time to let some other stories in. It's time to let to put in the front, like front and center, stories that we can identify with, stories of substance. I mean, you know, just like somebody asked me 2 days ago if I knew Esmeralda Santiago. And I kind of felt like saying, of course I know her. She's like one of 5, 5 kids on the varsity team. Like, of course I know her. You know, there's not that many of them on that team. And with people like you, Norma, there will be names that I don't know. I can't wait for that day. I can't wait to hear their last name, because there will be so many more Esmeraldas, so many more Julias, so many more Sandras that you're gonna have to tell me their last name. Right? So, because there'll be so many, because of you and your amazing ideas. So, so I promise, if you're watching the replay, you're probably like, well, how do I follow Norma? What do I do? I want to understand what's going on, because there are going to be some awesome rewards for her Kickstarter. And I'd love to be involved in it, Project Eñye, in some way, shape, or form, to be involved. I don't know how, but we'd love to pitch in something. And we promise to amplify that here in the Facebook group to support you. And yeah, so tell everybody who's listening, how can we, is there like a list we can join, or is there a place we can follow you? Tell us where we can do that.
First of all, Denise, thank you so much. I mean, you really are you and EDA, really madrina, dream maker, accelerator. I mean, without you, I don't know.
Oh, well, thank you.
I really don't know. So I just wanted to share that. And just from the bottom of my heart, the impact that you have had on my life and on this project and on our community is really just out of this world. So thank you for that. And then, of course, if you are interested in Fabian Flores, I invite everyone to check out at Fabian Flores Publishing on Instagram, or you can go to fabianflorespublishing.com and sign up for our sign up for our list. We'll keep you posted. Right now, it's just a landing page. We're still building out the website. And I'm just so excited for all of us. This is such a pivotal and important time in our community and for our society, really. And I'm just so excited to be here and so excited to be doing this, going on this journey with you all.
Awesome. Now, I just had an idea. Where's my shirt? Where's my sweatshirt? I mean, at the very least, can you make sweatshirts or something? So,
girl, I didn't take your sweatshirt. Pretty sure.
I want to model one of the shirts. I mean, slap a logo on a hoodie and send it to me because your logo is super cool. And I love the fact that I was part of the conversation and the naming of this, and it's such a cool name. The cool factor of this brand is like a 10 out of 10. So I'm just excited to see how it all unfolds. Yes, of course. So, all right. Also, please make sure, Norma, are you in our Facebook group? Are you in the Project Eñye Facebook group? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. If not, I will be on it by then.
Yeah, please, because I'd love to @tag you if anyone wants to reach out to you or just meet you or talk to you, or at the very least, I'd love for you to add those, add the places where people can follow you into the comments of this video. And I'll also ask Pau to do the same. And so people will know how to reach out to you. So thanks so much, everyone, for watching. My greatest hope, honestly, today is that you see yourself in Norma, that you're like, wow, I didn't know people like Norma did EDA. Well, now I know I can do this. So yes, people like Norma do EDA. They start from scratch. They start with nothing, and then they publish a book by the end of the year. Okay, I mean, it's just
4 months.
in 4 months. Okay. And, it's a lot of times people think, well, I need to have things more together, or they feel like they need something. And I wish you all knew, literally, if you were standing in front of me, I would grab you by the shoulders and remind you of how perfect you are, remind you that you have actually more than what you need to join, that you actually have so much, you're going to be able to share that. That's how ready you are to do something like this. Okay. So if this resonates with you, if you feel that stirring in your heart, I implore you, jump into the group, ask me questions, and look at the information. And there's no risk. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can literally jump in and jump out if you're like, this is too scary. But my hope is, and my thought, my guess is that you'll love it. That's just me, though.
It's been amazing. And I would encourage anybody who is on the fence, who's interested, who maybe even thinks they can't do it, I would definitely encourage them to reach out to Denise and to give it a whirl, because I think that it is so magical. It is so life-changing and the community is just, it's amazing. The sisterhood, the connectivity, the support. Here's the thing, without community, we can't do anything. Nobody is self-made. We're community made. And that's the real truth, right? And so we have coaches for so many other parts of our lives, right? So where's your coach for your dream? Where's your coach for your future self? Where's your coach? Where are your people for that part of you? And we all, I think most of us have some burning desire inside of us. We want to create something, and we're held back by so many reasons, right? And a lot of them, I've come to realize, are all mindset, right? Because somebody is doing something magical with less than what you have. So it's really about saying, you know what? No, I've been on the sidelines enough. I haven't given myself the opportunity to do what I really want to do, and that's changing. And so if you're on the fence, if you have decided that you're going to make that change, I think that EDA is an amazing, amazing program. So I would encourage everybody who's interested to reach out.
Thank you so much. And on that note, I thank you so much, Norma, for joining me today. I thank all of you for listening and watching the replay, and consider yourself officially invited. Okay. I love you. Mwah. We will see you soon. Take care.
Bye.